hi Dawood. So you live in Tel Rumeida.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit of history about the olive groves here?
Yeah. There's been agriculture in this area for a very long time, and some of these trees, most of the trees that you're looking at are around about 1,000 years old. Like that one, I would say. The oldest ones are up to 2,000 years. Um, so, and you can see that the area has been terraced over over centuries basically. So these retaining walls have been built here all the way around. There was a Canaanite city underneath here, so that when they do the archaeology, they're turning up houses and stuff. But then at a later date, that was all. I think everything here was destroyed in 135 when the Romans put down the Bar Kokhba rebellion. I think that was the end of the city here. And when it got rebuilt a couple of hundred years later, it got rebuilt across the valley where it is now, the old city. So this spot that we're standing on, somewhere close to here, is where Abraham stood in the story in the Bible, and he looked across the valley and he saw the double cave, which is right. So that, and now the Ibrahimi mosque has been built over the top of it. So yeah, this is a place with a lot of history. Abraham was a nomad, he lived in tents, so he didn't build here as far as we know, but he certainly kind of was in and out of the area.
So how long is left of the olive harvest, and what difference does internationals make when they're present here in Tel Rumeida during the olive harvest?
We've got another month to go, I would think. My family haven't started picking yet, they're still wanting to wait because they want their olives for the oil, and that improves the longer you leave it. And they're hoping for a big rainfall before we pick, in order to swell the olives. I think that could be the difference. Because this year we've had a strong international presence, and there's always been people with cameras. That could be one of the reasons why there's been a lot less trouble. It's certainly over the years that has proved to be effective. It was effective with the children. There used to be lots of trouble years ago with children trying to get to Cordoba school, with settlers throwing stones and eggs and kicking them and all of that stuff. And because there are internationals on the corners every day now with cameras, a lot of that quietens down. So I think sometimes the internationals come here and they think, oh well, we're not doing anything, but they're actually they're preventing. So, settlers come thinking about causing trouble. They see the cameras and they disappear. So I think that's why it's been a lot less trouble this year than other years. To now, basically, to bring us up to the present, these trees are very important to the local families for this part of the economy and for their own personal use. So Raed here, he owns all of these trees. Idris has 75. Mohammed has 35 that we were picking yesterday. So for those families, it's certainly this is going to be the oil for their own family, and the olives, the table olives for their own family. So my family that live up here, they used to be able to get enough oil and olives to keep the whole family for the year, and it's a big family. But since the settlers have been burning so many of the trees, and because of the problems with soldiers not allowing us to pick some of the trees, that's cut way down. So I mean, our kind of olive harvest is much smaller now than it was a few years ago.
So what kind of problems are the Palestinian families here in Tel Rumeida olive groves facing from settlers and soldiers, and how do they of prohibit the olive harvest or try and get in the way of families picking?
I mean, that's a big question, because there's huge amounts of problems here. The settlement is right there. you know, they've stolen that house there, the al-Bakri house. The settlers are living in the house. They forced the elderly couple out one night, and they, you know, it's been impossible to get them out. These houses here, all of them, you know, have been attacked many times with stones. And you know, the lady here from the Haddad house, she lost a baby because settlers were attacking the house and throwing stones one night when she was in there on her own. So yeah, it goes on and on. Specific to the olives, every other year when I've been here, there's been lots of problems with settlers stealing olives. Now we've seen a little bit of that. Mohammed has had to chase a few people off from his trees, but so far up to now we haven't seen any kind of big organised activity. Every year they've turned up, you know, with their tarpaulins and ladders and everything to pick the big tree, the one next to the observation post at the top of the hill there. And it takes then you know, you call the police and they come, and it takes hours before they can actually move the settlers off the land. They can move Palestinians. They can move off their own land straight away, no problem there. But it takes lots of, you know, a couple of hours of negotiations to move settlers off. And so, you know, and in the meantime, you lose a lot of olives, and you know, they trample them underfoot and throw them around, and all of that stuff.
And what would you say to internationals that were looking to come and help with the olive harvest? What would your words be?
Yeah, as many as possible do come. I mean, I find it's a wonderful thing to, you know, I really love the olive harvest. You know, you're out in the sunshine, you're communing with nature, you're picking olives, and you feel that kind of connection to the food that we eat and all of that. It's also really good solidarity for the Palestinian families, and you know, and for everybody else around. A lot of people comment on, you know, how grateful they are that somebody is showing that they care, because it does seem, you know, so many troubles are going on in Palestine. So many people get killed, and they feel like the world is watching and doing nothing. So here is something that we can do that's really practical to help them.
من عندي أقول أهلا وسهلا في كل الأجانب